All right, today we're digging into a seriously creepy story. But here's the twist. We're going to peel back all the layers of fear to find the hard science hiding right underneath. Let's get into it. So, this is the bone-chilling warning our main character, Arian, gets right after moving into his dream apartment. And, that's pretty much where our whole mystery kicks off. The story starts off simply enough. Arian, who's a data analyst, finds this incredible apartment in a remote place called the Silver Oak Society. It seems perfect, cheap, quiet, exactly the escape he was looking for. But, of course, a deal that good always has a catch. And this one came with a condition. A really, really strange rule that absolutely everyone had to follow. No exceptions. His landlord, a guy named Mishraji, was super vague about why they had this insane 7 p.m. curfew. He just muttered something about old rules and insisted that everyone had to obey them. Arian kind of blew it off, figuring, maybe there are wild animals around or something. But that casual attitude, yeah, that didn't last very long, because the way the other residents acted started to give him this deep, creeping sense of dread. Every single evening, it was like a switch flipped. You'd see shopkeepers, neighbors, even the watchmen, just frantically scrambling to get home. The whole atmosphere just crackled with this unspoken terror. And things started to get really intense. First, there's this siren that blares every night. Then he hears whispers about some kind of witch. And then it gets personal. He has this nightmare that feels so unbelievably real, he wakes up drenched in sweat, starting to question what's real and what's not. And then, one night, this fear stops being just in his head. It crosses over and becomes a very real, very painful physical attack. So picture this. He's sitting in his apartment. All the doors and windows are locked shut. The air is completely still. And yet, the entire room starts to hum with this deep, heavy vibration that seems to come from inside the walls themselves. Before he can even process what's happening, his body just starts to shut down. There's this crushing pressure on his chest, his head feels like it's going to split open, and this high-pitched ringing screams in his ears. Then he feels something warm trickle down his face and realizes he's bleeding from his ear, right before he blacks out. He wakes up the next morning, totally confused, his head pounding. He has no idea what happened. And that's when he sees it. One tiny little mistake. His balcony door wasn't sealed shut. It was just cracked open by a tiny little sliver. Now that one little detail changes absolutely everything. Remember, Arian's a data analyst. His mind immediately pivots from, I'm being haunted by a ghost, to, there is a logical explanation for this and I'm going to find it. So he hits the books, researching his symptoms. He starts eliminating possibilities one by one. A gas leak? Nope, no smell. Some kind of brain disease? No, he's perfectly healthy. He keeps digging until he stumbles across a scientific term he's never seen before, but it fits perfectly. Infrasound. So what is this infrasound that Arian discovered? Let's take a quick dive into the actual science behind the haunting. Infrasound isn't some kind of magic. It's just sound, but its frequency is so low, our ears literally can't perceive it. But, and this is the critical part, just because you can't hear it doesn't mean your body can't feel it. And this is where it all clicks. Look at these scientifically documented effects of infrasound exposure. Dizziness, headaches, chest pressure. Sound familiar? It perfectly matches everything Arian went through. Even that feeling of dread or a presence in the room, that's a known psychological effect. The vibrations can even cause your eyeballs to resonate, creating visual hallucinations. The nightmare, the ghoulish figure, it all makes sense now. So, the whole horrifying story of a murderous witch was really just a cover story. It was a simple, terrifying lie to hide a complex but completely natural scientific event. Okay, so Arian is now armed with the truth. He knows what attacked him, but he still doesn't know why. So he goes to confront the one person who might have the answers, his landlord, Mishraji. And to Arian's complete shock, Mishraji doesn't even try to deny it. He's almost impressed. He admits he knew about the infrasound all along and had intentionally created the ghost story to exploit it. Then, Mishraji explains the incredible truth. At exactly 7 p.m. every evening, a weather event called a thermal inversion happens, creating a very specific airflow from the nearby forest. This wind passes through huge,
ancient, hollow trees, turning the entire forest into a gigantic natural instrument that produces these powerful, low-frequency infrasound waves. A sealed house is safe, but just one open window turns your home into a resonance chamber, amplifying the effects to dangerous levels.
So why all the deception? Well, it turns out his motive was born from a family tragedy. Years ago, his father had poured his life savings into this land, only to discover it was uninhabitable. The financial ruin led to his father's death, and Mishraji, refusing to accept the loss, created the whole ghost story to sell the flats and get his father's money back. The whole thing ends with this amazing final showdown. Aryan actually manages to trap Mishraji outside on his own balcony right as the 7 p.m. siren blares. He forces the landlord to experience the full, terrifying power of the very science he tried to hide. The police get called, everyone is evacuated, and the ghost of Silver Oak society is finally put to rest. You know, this story is such a powerful reminder of how easily we can mistake something we don't understand for something supernatural. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other ghost stories, urban legends, and terrifying myths out there are just misunderstood science, waiting for someone to come along and connect the dots?